How's it going, everybody? Haven't been filming on the channel, been super busy this summer, just working. And one thing I did kind of want to talk about though is I did get a brand new bow from Mathews this year, and I'm hopefully gonna be filming some Iowa whitetail hunts. So that'll be pretty exciting. Kind of want to go over my bow setup. I know there's a lot of different things you can do with a bow and setup. I kind of want to go over why I did what I did. I'm no professional archer, it's my first compound bow, so it's kind of what I set up, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of trial and error to it, but kind of why I went with what I did when I did pick it out. So first of all, I do work at Shields in Sioux City, Iowa, so I did get a chance to shoot a lot of the brand new flagship bows for this year. I shot the Hoyt Torek, or the Hoyt RX4, the Axius, I shot the Bowtech Revolt, I shot the Elite Cure, and I shot the Mathews VXR, which is obviously what I went with. Coming down to that, at the end, when I was kind of about the 10 different bows I shot, the VXR stood on top just because of how dead in the hand it is. Plus, overall, the flagship bows went down in speed this year, but there's almost zero vibration or anything in this hand shock. It's just super dead in the hand bow. I went with a 31.5 inch axle to axle. Personally, it fit me a little bit better. I'm about 6'1". It fit me a little better, and then it's also a little bit more stable shooting. So with a shorter axle to axle, especially if you're taking a long distance, not steady shots, I don't even train, especially if you do like a western spot and stock, it definitely can be a lot harder to aim with a shorter axle to axle. At least that's kind of my understanding of it. So I went with a 31.5 inch, and it's amazing. 70-pound limbs and mods on it, so and they are maxed out, so I'm pulling about 73, 74 pounds. 28 inch draw. I got a really pretty short draw, but no, so kind of want to go over my bow setup. So I did get the olive green. It's like they call it ambush green. Pretty sweet. It's kind of like a military green. I did all orange accents. I think it kind of turned out pretty cool. I did have a backup set of strings color wise, but the orange and green turned out really nice. And did also get the orange harmonic dampener in there too, which is pretty cool. That's another feature of the VXR that kind of pushed me towards it versus the other bows, is the inputted harmonic dampener out front really lessens the vibration and the sound of the bow. And it's super quiet. I know we were out shooting today, and on camera, even with the camera right next to the bow, there's hardly any sound coming out of it. And so it's definitely not enough to spook a whitetail or anything, turkey hunting in the spring. Going on from the bow, I do got an 8-inch Mathews. This is the paint match ambush green stabilizer out front. I didn't add a back one just because I kind of went out and shot with this for a week or two before I decided if I was going to put one on. Really didn't need to. I was shooting really accurate, for first time shooting a bow. So yeah, I went with the 8-inch paint match. I got a wrist thing on there, but pretty much everybody has one of those on their bows these days. Kind of getting to the big part of the bow, the sight, and this is where you can go crazy. You can go everything from 1 pins to 7s to fixed housings to sliding housings. There's so many different things you can do with sights these days, and I know they got so many advanced sights built in with rangefinders now, but I went with the IQ Pro Hunter 3-pin. Big reason I picked this sight is on a normal 3-pin sight, if you want to use a floating pin, you have to move your whole housing. So if your housing's moved to dial out to different ranges, your 20 and 30 yard pins aren't on. Whereas this bow has a single pin, the housing is always on, so no matter what, I'm going to have that 20 and 30 yard pin, and I can shoot out to, I think, with my specs, probably about 85 yards, as long as I'll be able to get with the sight tape on here. IQ does come with their patented retina lock technology, and what that is at full draw, looking through your peep at the top of your sight housing, there'll be a green dot with a kind of black little dot inside of it. So with the IQ sight, IQ did kind of patent the retina lock technology. Pretty much all it is another thing to kind of a little light you can look at, make sure you're nocking the same point every time. It's pretty cool. I'm starting to get mine dialed in. I think it'd be really nice, especially when you're taking weird shots around a tree. Kind of make sure I'm still anchoring good and gonna put off a good shot. So that's stabilizer, sight, quiver. I'm just shooting the Mathews AeroWeb 4. It's a 4-arrow quiver. It's light, it's paint matches the bow, looks pretty cool. So it's a big deal for me. But another big important thing other than the sight is the rest. There are 2 types of rest. You can go with cable or limb driven. From what under my standings, cable drivens are more compact, but the limb drivens are fixable in the field. So if something happens in the field, I don't have to have a bow press to fix it. There's controversy whether or not they're fast or not. They're all fast, so I went the Hamskea Hybrid Pro Hunter. I tied it into a little bracket down here by the cam on the VXR, so I didn't have to put sticky pegs on it, and it's super awesome. There really isn't anything I would change about my bow, so it's kind of what I went up with the setup this year for the bow. Now getting into the arrows, I am shooting Easton Axis 5mm. It's an all carbon arrow, which is a big thing for me. I didn't want to kind of go with aluminum jackets just because of fear of them bending. Yeah, the Easton Axis 5mm, pretty sweet arrow. I'm running nocturnal red illuminated nocks, and I'm using QAD Exodus fixed blade broadheads. So getting into why I did what I did with the arrows, normally the inserts on a QAD Exodus are about 8 to 18 grains, something like that. They're really light. I'm shooting a brass insert in them, so it's actually at 50 grains for the insert, and I'm shooting 125 grain broadhead. Yeah, just a little bit of difference in the weight up front has really been like the difference in like passing all the way through on the block and getting my broadhead all the way to the other side versus I know Don was shooting some of his arrows, pretty much the same setup, same weight. My bow's a little bit faster, but I had that heavier fronted arrow, and I was getting almost complete pass-throughs on my block target, which was pretty nice. Yeah, it's kind of what I went with this year. I'm sure there'll be a lot of trial and error, and I might change things up next year, but overall, it's a really forgiving bow. There's a lot of room for, I don't have the best, form, I don't have the best anchor point, I don't have the best, mechanics built up yet. I'm still able to drill. I would say 90% of my shots are going to be, in a 3-inch pattern at 20 to 30 yards. It's a really accurate bow. I'm super blessed to be able to have this and get this nice of a bow for my first bow. You don't need it, but figured, well, I can get it, why not? But definitely want to get this in the tree stand, get a couple cameras in there, and see if I can put a big Iowa whitetail buck down for you guys. We'll see how it plays out this year. I got a few good spots. I am going to do another video on kind of my whole hunting clothes setups, from boots to base layers all the way to my outer layer. My tree stand, I kind of want to go through and just use it all a little bit more and give a little bit more understanding of why things are what they are before I make another video on that. I decided to do the bow just because we're out here shooting today and we got some really cool footage of it, and I kind of got everything on this bow dialed and what it does and why it's there. But yeah, thanks for you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to DM me on Instagram at Michael's Fishing 2001. Otherwise, just search Michael Hedden on Instagram. You should be able to find me. Otherwise, yeah, follow me on Instagram if you guys want to see like more day-to-day posts. I'm gonna do better on like posting a couple times a week. I'm almost always have a story on Instagram, whether it's out just shooting targets, in the tree stand, stuff like that. So if you want to see more, day-to-day stuff, just follow me on Instagram. I will leave a couple other Instagrams down and YouTube videos, links on kind of what I use as reference to picking out what I did for my bow. Huge shout out to like Ranch Fairy and the Hunting Public. I learned a lot of them about building heavy arrows. Really about pass-throughs and kind of FOC. If you know what that is, go check them out. They're going to do a lot better job explaining it. Another huge shout out to Fishing with Turbo, Dominic. We're out in Ames fishing this week, and we brought our bows down. He's filming for me. He's doing a lot of editing. I'll leave a link to his channel, his Instagram. Definitely should go follow him. A good buddy of mine. We're going to do a lot of hunting and fishing together, filming. I know we're super excited to get some stuff done. Hopefully the next year, 2 year, we kind of get a more consistent base on YouTube. I know hopefully he's going to come along film some of my whitetail hunts. But yeah, definitely go give those guys a follow. Everything will be in the description. I'll link to everything for my arrows, bow, sight, kind of put that all down there. Yeah, otherwise any questions, you can definitely just comment on the video. Other than that, that's going to do it all. And that's kind of my setup for my 2020 Mathews 31.5-inch VXR.